Shalom, shalom, Israel's brother Zahaba Yalla.
Brother Abba Ron.
Coming back into another cold cut. We like to give our praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Right, double honors to the men out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth and honesty and sincerity in these last days. The mighty Aquath as well, guiding their households, laying down their necks for their mighty children and mighty households as well. And the mighty children keeping the commandments, um, abiding in the commandments in their parents' households. Shalom, shalom. And Shalaki, the mighty Aquath, right, guiding their households for Yahweh Bashim Shai, I should say, right. Hop into a quick video at the plantation, man, right?
Right.
At the plantation, hop into a quick video, just going over, building up our spirits, watching over ourselves, examining ourselves in these last days, right? Getting right, before the Lord,
Right.
right?
And I could start off real quick, guys. As the brother said, we can't be distracted with the ways of this world because at the end of the day, we still got to survive, but ultimately, we got to always keep the Most High on our mind. We can go to the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. You already know the classic, right? And it reads, I could do all things through him, Mashiach, which strengthen me, right?
That's right.
So no matter where you at, you could be at work, you could be at home, you could be on the road, whatever situation or circumstance you are, and you could do all things. So
Right.
you don't want to be overwhelmed and overtaken by the ways and the like the different aspects that come in this lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, it's all carnal, it's temporary, it's here today, it's gone tomorrow. So we always got to make sure we focus on the kingdom and try to do the righteous act because we're living in times and Yahusha is going to come like a thief in the night. No one knows the day or the hour.
Right.
So we got to stay occupied in doing righteousness. Know what I'm saying? So you got to always focus on what's important.
That's right. I got a precept. This is Baruch chapter 4 and verse 10. And self-examination comes to know a lot. You repent. You may have fallen to some sins. You may be bowed down to some iniquities, right? But guess what? You want to seek the Most High 10 times more, and that's what's going to help you examine or and establish a game plan on what you should do next, right? It's Baruch 4 and 10. It's like Baruch chapter 4 and verse 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, right? And that happens to brothers, that happens to sisters, right? Your mind goes astray from the Most High. Your mind goes astray, and now you're following after your lust and what you want to do, and forgot the will of the Lord. You forgot what the Most High wanted you to do, right? And it says, so being returned, so the Most High will grant you back into this thing. He'll return you, right? He will kind of put your path right back towards Him, man,
That's right.
right? And it says, and that's the grace and mercy of the Most High, because He loves your prosperity, right? And it says, so being returned, seek Him 10 times more, and you want to seek the Most High, 10 times more, going into completion, emphasis, right? You want to completely wholly seek the Most High with your mind, coming back to the Lord. Let me get the Book of Psalms real quick, man, because the Most High, you know, He has pleasure when when you're in prosperity, right? This is Psalm chapter 35, right? Psalm chapter 35 and verse 27, right? And it says, let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. Yea, let them say continually, let the Lord be magnified, which have pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. When you're prospering, the Lord has pleasure in it. The Lord doesn't like when you're not prospering, man. The Lord doesn't receive pleasure from you getting judged and from you getting destroyed, man. The Lord has pleasure in when you come back to Him, and so He can give you things to be prosperous. How do you be prosperous? How do you be prosperous? How do you? The Lord wants to see you prosperous, but how do you receive prosperity from the Most High? What do you have to do? All right, let's go to Joshua chapter 1 and 9. All right, now I'm gonna pass. It's Joshua chapter 1 and verse number 9, and it says, I start at verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, right? That thou mayest observe to do according to all, it's like that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So the Lord said, then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. When you meditate and observe to do everything written in the law, keeping the law, speaking on the law, let it not depart out of thy mouth. Always preaching and teaching the gospel. Look what times you live in it, man. Right? A lot of people are not prospering, but you have our people, and that's keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. They're prospering before their enemies, and the Most High has pleasure in that, man. right? The Most High has pleasure in you being a light, unto the other nations, right? And they're seeing your prosperity, right? They seeing. Let me get one more precept on Pastor, right? This is Sirach chapter 5 and verse 1, right? Because they're going to be confounded at your prosperity, man, right? But you can only receive that when you return and examine your ways. This is Sirach chapter, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1, Slack. All right, chapter 5 and verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him and made no account of his labors. Right? The righteous man, he's going to stand in great boldness because he's going to be prospering. Right? And there's nothing that his enemies can say or do against him. Right? And it says, when they shall see it, when they shall see your prosperity, when they shall see it, what? Then shall they be troubled with terrible fear, man. Right? Because now you in your estate. You're in your mindset, man. You have the Most High on your side. You're in the spirit. You got the zeal, and you feel like nobody can stop you. Your enemies can't stop you, man. Guess what? They gonna be terrible, have terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, and so far beyond all that they look for, man. Right? And that's what they're gonna be doing. But essentially, we have to get back to that. We got to examine our ways. All right, let me get one more. Let me go to Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. Right, and it says, before judgment, examine thyself. So before you receive judgment from the Most High or judgment from anywhere, hey, you got to examine yourself. See what you've been going off at, man. It shouldn't take a judgment and correction for you to examine your ways. The Most High jammed you up, and now you got to receive that correction. No, you should. And that's good that when you do get jammed up, and the Most High give you judgment, you kind of learning from that thing, but you want to do that before. You shouldn't take the Most High, putting you in a situation for you to learn, man. You want to receive instruction beforehand, right? And it says, before judgment, examine thyself in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy. And the day when that judgment is supposed to come upon you, the Lord will give you that mercy. So you know what? He changed his ways. All right, he got back to, he got back on track. All right, all praise to the Most High. You got it, King.
All praises. So I'm just gonna add to what the brother said because like we live in this wicked ass world and it's just getting worse and worse by the day. So I'll go to the book of Lamentation, chapter 3, verse 22. Bring this out real quick, and it reads, "It is of the Most High's mercy that we are not consumed, because His compassion fail not." Verse 23. They are new every morning. Great is Thy faithfulness. So if it wasn't for the Most High's mercy, we all be dead by now. Like real talk. So I'm saying, and it's renewed every morning. That's why we always got to examine ourselves. Let's actually get that real quick in 2 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 5. Because at the end of the day, the Most High is long suffering. The Most High is mercy, and He sent His Son Yahweh Shah to die for the nation of Israel. Obviously, we know not all Israel is going to hearken to the word, but at the same time, we got to be diligent in seeking them with truth and sincerity, right? So this is the book of First Corinthians, right? Bring this out real quick. Chapter 13, right? Um, from my Second Corinthians. So
So examine yourself.
yeah,
13 and 5.
Yeah, this book of Second Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 5, and it reads, "Examine yourself whether ye be in the truth, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own self. Know ye not your own self, how that in Mashiach Yahushua is in you, except he be reprobate." So at the end of the day, we got to be sincere and honest to ourselves. We can't be on the highway, byway, shaking the hand, rebuking people, and then behind closed door, we're doing all hell type of evil. So I'm saying we got to constantly examine ourselves. We can't be a hypocrite in this thing because the Most High is going to have His Son tell us that He never knew us. So I'm saying, and then when we go through our tribulation, we're going to be trying to seek Him out, but all that time was being disobedient. Let me also bring this other precept out real quick. Psalms chapter 32, verse 5. Right? It says, "I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and my iniquity upon thy head. I said, I will confess my transgression unto Yahweh, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sins." Salah. So at the end of the day, we always got to confess our sin because the Most High is merciful. So I'm saying, but He want us as people to seek Him and with a sincere heart. And you can't hide nothing from the Most High. So whatever, like if you might commit like 3 sins for the day, you can't repent for 2 sins and then hide that one because you want to get back to it because it's such a stronghold on you.
Right.
So I'm saying you can't let the ways and then the saying? So at the end of the day, the Most High is merciful, but you don't want to abuse that grace.
Yeah, I got a precept. This Nahum 1 and 3, because abusing the grace of the Most High will get you ultimately destroyed and killed because you're just throwing away the blood of Yahweh. If you have the blood of Yahweh in the cup, every time you willfully go off, you're just doing this. You're throwing it away, right? And the Lord sees that. You don't think the Lord is? Imagine you give somebody you just bought some food. I mean, you just bought. It's still hot, right? You see the smoke and all of that, and you give it. So you know what? You hungry? All right, you can have it. Right? And you turn around and you turn back around and the food in the garbage. They said, it just wasn't according to my liking. You got pickles on it. I don't really eat pickles, so I just threw it all in the garbage. Thank you, though. And they walk off. You're going to be trembling in your reins. You're going to want to take a damn closest thing and kind of smite that person, man, because they just threw away your fresh ball food. Imagine the blood of the Lord, man. Right? This is Nahum 1 and 3. The Lord is slow to anger and in great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord not going to acquit you. You're not getting off on certain charges, man. Right? If the Lord don't give you his mercy, he going to judge you and he don't give a damn who you are. There's no respect of persons with the Lord. Right? And it says, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the world when in the storm and the clouds are the dust of his feet. So if the Lord wants to enact that judgment upon you, ultimately you deserve that already. You already deserve that if the Lord gave it to you. And if it's death, it's death. But we want to avoid that by getting ourselves right in these last days, self-examining, seeing what's going on. Part of self-examination is looking at another brother, what he's doing well, and applying it to yourself. Let me go to Psalms 37:37. All right. This is Psalm chapter 37 and verse number 37. And it says, mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. So when you mark something, you taking notes, right? You taking notes, man. You take note of that man. You see what's going on. What is he doing that I can apply to myself that I can walk better in the law, statute, commandments, in the faith of Yahweh Shem Yahshua? What can I do? Right? Does that brother have a schedule? All right, I can set up, implement a schedule. Hey, a mighty brother, you know, from W5 Philly, Jersey, Ecclesiastes, hey, the brother got a schedule and invited all the other brothers to take part in that same schedule, man, if they can. Right? That's mighty, man. That can help another brother out, if he has no structure in his day. And you mark that perfect man and say, okay, that can help me. All right, what he's doing, that can also help me as well. Let me implement that to my day. Right? And essentially, that's what you want, man. Right? That's what you want. Most I setting up examples in these last days. And ultimately, you can become an example as well. Let me go to First Timothy. Well, before I get that, I can go to Sirach. All right. This is Sirach chapter 32 and 18. Sirach 32 and 18. A man of counsel will be considerate. So if you're a man of counsel, that means you're going to others to seek counsel. You're going to others to see what they do and how and what are their advice to help you in particular situations. And you're going to be considerate. You're not going to be closed-minded. You go all the way to a brother's house for counsel just to say that's a stupid idea. I ain't never doing that. Right? You go and you do your own thing, get destroyed. Right? But guess what? You have that counsel. You got to be considerate. You got to listen to that brother idea and say, you know what? That may be right. You're right. All right. You got to humble down and be considerate and ponder that and see if that can help you as well. But what? But a strange and proud man is not daunted with fear. So if you're a strange and you're a proud man, you're not going to have that fear the most high. You're not going to have that fear. You're going to do what you want to do. And at the end of the day, right? And it says, even when of himself he have done without counsel, even of himself. If you're a proud and daunted man, and a strange man, you're going to do what you want to do without ever receiving counsel, without ever looking at another example. Just say, I am the example all the time. You think you're already perfect and you just do what you got to do. Like, you going to get destroyed like that, man. Right? So let me go to the book. I had another precept kind of escaped me.
I can get in there.
Huh. Yeah, you can get in there. Can't tell remember.
So, um, as the brother says, like once you're in this truth, there's no excuses. You can't be a evil Israelite and then you say, you know what, I don't want to be an evil Israelite no more. This is not a religion. So I'm saying it's a nationality. You was born as an evil Israelite. So I'm
Right.
saying you don't choose to be it. So I'm saying I can't go to China and say I'm Chinese. I could practice their philosophies, their culture, their ways, but that don't make me a Chinese. So I'm saying, and at the end of the day, God is the God of the chosen people, the seed line, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which his name was changed to Israel, which is the 12 tribe scattered worldwide, right? But once you're in this truth, you're supposed to know better. So let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. Right? It says, "For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin."
That's right.
Right? So, like, you can't willfully go off after you have the knowledge of the truth because you'll be judged for that. So I'm saying, and your judgment will be worse because you know better, so you're supposed to do better.
Right.
Right? And sin is basically transgression of the Most High's law. I tell you that in First John chapter 3, verse 4. Like, breaking God's commandments is a sin. Right? And it's not just 10. The whole Bible is the book of the law. Right? It tells you that in Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. Right? But at the end of the day, if we know better, we got to do better. Actually, let's go to Yahweh Shah real quick. Go to the book of Matthew chapter 5, right? Because Yahweh Shah, that's a perfect example. Because at the end of the day, that's the Son of the living God, right? And the Most High loved us so much that He sent His only begotten Son to die for our sins, right? So we can't be taking this thing for a joke and focus on other things that's not as important, right? And Yahweh Shai said, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, right? It said, "Think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." So Yahweh Shai didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to die for y'all sins so y'all could kind of do what y'all want," right? He said He's going to "I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill." So He came to fulfill the things that was concerning Him,
Right.
right? Being pierced, dying for the nation of Israel, right? And then He said in verse 18, "For real I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall not Salaki shall in no wise pass from the Lord till all be fulfilled. Right? And this is the point in verse 19. "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called the great in the kingdom of heaven." So that's the agenda. That's the main goal right now. We are trying to get to the kingdom of heaven. So you got to be able to keep these commandments and teach others so you could be called the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. If you're going off and you're breaking the commandments and you think like one is not as bad as the other. No, sin is sin. So I'm saying regardless if it's a leaf, like killing somebody, or if it's fornicating, it's still sin. So I'm saying, and Yahweh Shai is plain. He's basically saying you got to keep these commandments, do them, and be an example to others while also building others and telling them what they have to do without caring about their feeling. Because open rebuke is always better than secret love.
Right. That's right. Let me go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. And I'm going to bring it out. Proverbs 27, verse 5. "Open rebuke is better than secret love." And that's plain. Hey, you got to hear the truth. The Lord commanded you to tell the truth. I'm going to Zechariah 8 and 16. Actually, let me read on from that. "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." Why does it say faithful are the wounds of a friend? What is a wound? A wound is when you tell somebody the truth and it hits them a little bit, right? It strikes them, right? It leaves a mark on them, right? They're like, damn, he told me the truth though, but it hurts. But I'd rather hear that than you hear the kisses of an enemy, man. The kisses of an enemy are the things everything you want to hear, right? It feels good, right? It sounds good, right? Even though they lying to you, they're being deceitful, but that's what they're giving you. They're giving you things to deceive, make you feel what you want to hear. But your faithful friend, he gonna give you wounds. He gonna tell you the truth, no matter how hard and how raw it is, man. Right? Because he love you, man. That's a faithful friend. Let me go to the book of another precept. Second, Zechariah 8 and 16. What the Lord commanded us to do. The Lord commanded us to be you gotta tell your brother the truth. Right? It's Zechariah chapter 8 in verse number 16. And it says, "These are the things that you shall do." So the Lord's about to give certain directions on what man should do. Right? "These are the things that you shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates." Man. So he told you to speak every man the truth to his neighbor. That's a requirement. If you're not speaking the truth, but you speaking lies to your neighbors, you're in sin. They're going off. Right? You're no better than Esau. Right? You're no better than the damn devil. Which is the father of lies. John 8 and 44. It says execute the judgment of truth. How do you when you execute something? You get the job done. Right? You get the job done. Execute the judgment of truth in your gates, man. So you got to do this. right? Especially if you're a leader, you got to have equity, right? You got to have equity as a leader. You have to learn equity, learn right, proper and righteous judgment. And it says, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor, and love no false oath, right? You can't love false oaths, can't love making false oaths, can't love, doing different swearing and all types of manner, sin and folly and not going through with it. For all these are things that I hate, saith the Lord. And the Lord hates these things. These are the things the Lord hates. Loving false oaths, you're imagining evil against your brother, right? You're not executing the judgment of truth in your gates, and you're speaking every man lies to his neighbor. With the lying tongue, man. But you command to tell your brother the truth, man, and tell him where he's going off at. Didn't the Lord say that? Didn't you say you should not suffer sin upon your brother, man? You can only do that if you're telling them the truth. All right, it's Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. So essentially, the Lord already told you don't hate your brother in your heart, and He's going to tell you how you can hate your brother or how you cannot hate your brother, right? And it says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor." Right? So like the Lord said, any wise, meaning any situation, any situation that you're in, and he's going off, your brother's off, your sister's off, you have to rebuke them. You have to tell them where they're going off at, right? And it says, and not suffer sin upon him. And you don't want your brother to suffer sin. So you're gonna tell him the truth. You're gonna tell him what he needs to hear to get himself right, man. Right? Iron sharpens iron. You go to Proverbs chapter 17. Right? Iron sharpens iron. It's Proverbs chapter 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. If you're a real friend, if you're a real person, and you are a real soldier behind your guy, man. Guess what? You're gonna sharpen him up. You're gonna sharpen him up, man. And what it means to be sharpened up, you're not always gonna like it, right? You're gonna, some days you're not gonna want to be sharpened. Some days you just want to be dull. Some days you don't want to get no work done. But your friend, he's gonna always exhort you and push you toward that goal to be strong, to be sharp, and ultimately, so you can do the same to others as well. You got it, King.
Yeah, Khan. And the brother was focusing on the truth. So I'm saying because at the end of the day, the truth shall set you free. Actually, I'm gonna read that in the book of Saint John chapter 8 verse 32, right? And it reads, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Right? It didn't say the truth. You might be. It says it's going to make you free. Right? Now, actually, let's actually get in more depth with that because what is the truth? We have to go to the book of Psalms, right? Psalms chapter 149, right? And 142. So, because a lot of people think, oh, it's my truth, your truth, my God, your. No, there's only one God, and there's absolutely one truth. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, it's like we live in the times of the end where we need to come in understanding that we need to get everything right before it's too late.
All right.
Right? This is book of Psalms 149, Psalms Psalms 142. Um, uh, uh,
No, no, you got it.
yeah, so it's the book of Psalms chapter 142, verse 1. Make sure I get the right precept. Yeah, this is um,
What you looking for?
what one four. What is it? 142 or 149.
What you looking for?
Um, the righteousness.
Oh, yeah, Psalms 119, 142.
Yeah, I'm selecting. Yeah. Psalms 119, 142. Selecting. Yeah, this is the book of Psalms chapter 119, verse 142, and it reads that righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and that law is the truth. So at the end of the day, it's not your truth, it's not my truth, it's the Most High law is the truth. And like from the foundation of the earth, the Most High gave us law, statutes, and commandments. He said, "Keep my commandments, I'm gonna bless you.
Right.
Break my commandments, I'm gonna curse you."
That's right.
And obviously, we're going through the curse. We know our forefathers and our foremothers that went off, right? Right after seeing the miracles, that saw angel bread. So I'm saying that the Mosai used Moses to split the Red Sea. Like this, they literally was first witness to these things. We just read about it, but we have faith and believe these things happen. So I'm saying you can't just You can't just see something to believe. That's what faith is. Actually, let's go to that real quick in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Because a lot of people, they don't believe unless they see it, right? So they're like, okay, I hear like you reading about the Bible, but once I see Christ bust the sky open, no, it's going to be too late by
Right.
then,
It's gonna be way too
right?
late.
So this is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So if you could see it, that's not faith because you already like bear witness to it.
Right back to
You
you.
gotta have that hope. You gotta like hope, hey, I hope I get salvation. Hopefully I'm one of the elect. That's why you say most high is willing. Right? Because you don't want to you can't boast and saying, oh, I'm part of the elect. Like no one knows who is who. No one know their lot. Our job is to be occupied in righteousness until the Most High decide to send His Son, because no one know the day or the hour, right? And even Yahweh Shah was emphasizing on that, right? That's a perfect example. Actually, let's go to that real quick. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 24, right? Verse 35, right? Because at the end of the day, Yahweh Shah is this the kings of kings, the Lord of Lord, and that's who we need to be saved, right? And it reads, let's actually start up earlier to get the context, right? Actually, let's go on Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. It say, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So you got to endure to the end to be saved. That's what the words say, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't add or take away from the script. We got to go verbatim to what the word say. This is the word of God. This is the living word, right? And it's not like, oh, we got the Old Testament, we got the New Testament. The Most High come in the Yahweh Shah comes in the volume of the book, right? It tells you that in Hebrews, right? And actually, let me jump up to verse verse 37. Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, married and given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, right? And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So like people living in prosperity, they going to club, they fulfilling the lust of their flesh and not realizing the time is at hand. So I'm saying we like it is high time to awake out of sleep and realize what's going on. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people that don't take this thing seriously. So I'm saying so actually let's get that let's get this closing precept, because at the end of the day, the Most High um has a few people, a remnant of people is always going to be coming back for. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to the last book in the Bible, right? This is the book of Revelation, right? Chapter 1, verse 3. Let's just get the basic, because this is what we all need to do. It say, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. The time is at hand. We live in the last days, so we got to be occupied in prophecy. We got to be occupied in doing the righteous works of the Most High. So, Lord willing, we'll be saved when the Most High send His Son to destroy this place.
I'm gonna get my last ones too. All right. I'm gonna go to Revelations 3 and 2. It's, perfect preset is kind of going into what we're going to. This Revelations 3 and 2. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect to Yahweh before Yahweh. So you have more work to do. You're not perfect before the Most High. Yeah, you're good in some aspects, but some other aspects you need to work on, whether it's fasting, praying, reading, dropping videos, teaching, being a light, right, or secrets, whatever, man. Hey, the Lord said, be watchful. You got to watch, take action, and see what's going on, and strengthen the things which remain. We strengthen some. We got to work it out. You got to exercise it, man. Let me get one more, right? And go to the book of Sirach, all right, chapter 50, 50 and 27. Yahushua, the son of Sirach of Jerusalem, have written in this book the instruction of understanding and knowledge, whom out of his heart poureth forth wisdom. Blessed is he that shall be exercised in these things, and he that layeth them up in his heart shall become wise. The Lord said you got to exercise these things. You got to work it out, man. It's not going to come easy all the time. You got to work it out. You got to push yourself. You got to strengthen those things which remain, man. All right. But kind of like to give praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, right? That were honors, man. To those that are really out there doing the work in honesty and sincerity, man. The truth, as you know, is going global, man. Right? Shout out to IUIC. Hey, being out there in front of the Barclays, and that got national attention, man. All over the nation. Everybody talking about that thing,
The
man.
gospel is being spread all to the four corners of the earth. Then
Right.
the end shall come.
Then the end shall come. All right, but let's bid a mighty strong shalom.
Shalom, Israel.